Hello, how are you? Are you focused? Today we're going to talk about the differences between Xerjoff's Naxos and Mugler Pure Havan. There's always a lot of talk that these two fragrances are very similar. A lot of people really compare them together and they say that the scent profile is very similar. But to me, there are quite a few differences. There's also some similarities as well, but we're going to go through these together and find out which one is best to buy. So guys, stay right there and enjoy the video. We're going to start off by looking at Xerjoff's Naxos. It's one of the most beautiful bottles and presentations that I have in my collection. Now, I don't always look at the presentations in my videos. I don't think they are always the most important thing, but as you can see by this video, the presentation is very beautiful, and it's what you like to see when you're spending so much money on a niche fragrance. It's nice to get a really handcrafted, lovely presentation that you can display on your shelf, and it really looks the part. So it's not something I always talk about presentation, but this is very beautiful. Now we're going to start off with the opening of Naxos. So as you first spray it on, you are hit with a beautiful realistic lemon and bergamot note. So it's very vibrant, very citrusy, and it's kind of effervescent. It really sparkles when you first spray it on. So it kind of gives you that impression when you first spray it that it's going to be a lovely, vibrant summer fragrance, but that quickly changes, as we'll discuss in a minute. But yeah, the opening is very fresh, very vibrant, very juicy, and quickly after that you get this beautiful, smooth lavender that comes through. And what I love about this is it's very calming. So lavender is an essential oil, and it's very calming when you smell it, and that's what this effect has on me. If you spray it on your hand and you smell it, the lavender is very calming. So it's a really nice, beautiful, well-balanced, calming fragrance. Now as we go through to the mid of Xerjoff's Naxos, that's when those citrus notes quickly fade away. They're there in the opening, but they quickly fade away, and you're left with the smooth lavender, which is going to stay through most of the life of the fragrance. But this is where those heavy sweet notes come through. This is where you get the sweet honey. This is where you get the cinnamon, which adds a lovely spiciness, and it's where you get the tobacco, which is one of the main stars. Now, tobacco you can have different types of tobacco in fragrances. A lot of tobaccos are kind of dusty or dry, but this one is a very sweet tobacco. If you think of something like a Parfums de Marly's Herod, it's a sort of almost cherried-like tobacco, and that is very similar to what you get in this, because it's mixed with vanilla, it's mixed with honey and with tonka bean, and they're all very sweet vanillic notes, and that works really well with the tobacco and adds a nice real sweetness. But because of the lavender, it's going to be really smooth as well. Now as we go through to the dry down, the citrus notes are completely gone and the lavender slowly starts to fade, but it's still going to be there. But the main notes are going to be the honey, the tobacco, vanilla and tonka bean. So it's going to last on your skin quite a long time. It's not a beast mode fragrance as such. I think you're going to get around 6 to 8 hours depending on your skin chemistry, and the projection is going to be moderate, but this is not a fragrance that you would want to be a beast mode. In certain fragrances you want them to be really strong and powerful. This one I don't think it's designed to be like that. It's supposed to be more of a personal fragrance, and whilst it will last a long time, it's not going to be a beast mode projection. Now when should you wear Xerjoff's Naxos? Judging by the notes, you would expect probably someone to say it's really good for the winter, for the cold months, which it is. But I think because of the mix of the notes, because of the beautiful citrus opening, the lavender and all the sweet notes we spoke about, and because it's not a beast mode fragrance, I think this can actually work really well all year round. I certainly wear this all year round, depending on the type of situation I'm going to. I don't feel it's a particularly good for casual situations. You could of course wear it whenever you want, but I personally wear this when I want something extra. When you just feel like you need something extra in the day, whether it's you're going to a job interview, an important meeting someone who you really care about, and you're dressed up, or you're going to a party and you want something that's going to make a statement. That is when Xerjoff Naxos is going to work perfectly. It doesn't matter if it's winter, spring, doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, you can wear this anywhere. We are moving now on to Mugler Pure Havan. I believe this is now discontinued, unfortunately. I can't find it anywhere for a reasonable price. Only on eBay you can find this still, but it's you're looking at double or triple the cost. So apparently it's been discontinued, which is a massive shame, because when this was first around and when I bought this, I would have paid around £40, £45 for this, which at the time, and even now if this was still available at that price, I would say that's one of the best value fragrances on the market. You know, most fragrances now, even average ones, are costing in excess of £50 for a designer fragrance, but this £45, this would have been one of the best bang for your buck fragrances that you could buy. The opening of Pure Havane is very different to Xerjoff's Naxos. So for me, that's where the most of the differences are going to occur in the opening. In the Naxos, we had those beautiful, fresh, citrusy notes, but in Pure Havane, you are going to have no such thing. This goes straight into the sweet notes. This opens up with honey and with tobacco. They're going to be the main players of this show, and that is what you get in the opening. It goes straight to these heavy, dense notes, and the tobacco, much like in Naxos, is not going to be a dusty tobacco necessarily. It's a sweet tobacco, and I want you to think of Parfums de Marly's Herod as the type of tobacco that is in this as well. Now, as you go through to the mid, this is when the famous Mugler A-Man Patchouli comes through. So if you smelt the original A-Man, and if you smelt things like Pure Malt and the other A-Man line, they have this kind of house patchouli that they use. It's this note that they use, and it's like a very earthy, chocolatey-like patchouli, and that comes through this in the mid, which adds a real interesting kind of denseness and earthiness to the sweet notes, and that works really well together. It's a very sweet fragrance, but because you've got the earthiness, it just balances it out slightly. So it's still a very sweet fragrance, sweeter than Naxos, but it's balanced out nicely by those earthy notes. As we get to the dry down of Pure Havane, that is where most of the comparisons between Naxos and this can be made. In Naxos, those citrusy notes have long gone, and you're left with just the honey, the tobacco, and vanilla, which is pretty much what you get in this, as well as the earthiness. So pretty much those three notes are going to be the same for both of these fragrances in the dry down, and that is, for me, where the comparison is made. So for me, Naxos is a much better blended fragrance. I think the quality of materials used is by far superior to Pure Havane, and that is also reflected in the price. The price of Naxos is around £180 for 100ml, depending on where you buy it from, and the Pure Havane, obviously the prices now, because it's discontinued, are not a true reflection of the original price when it was made, so we're going to call it £40. So there's a big difference in price, but there's also a big difference in the quality of the fragrance. Now, if you want a comparison, Pure Havane is a bottle of JD, Jack Daniels. It's relatively affordable, everyone likes it, but perhaps you have to mix it with a Coke to kind of make it taste smooth and enjoyable, whereas Naxos is a single malt, perfectly blended 12-year-old whiskey that you drink with one ice cube because it's so smooth. So I think that's a really good comparison to make, so you can get an idea of just how smooth and well-rounded Naxos is compared to Pure Havane. Even though I've basically said during this video that I think Naxos is a better fragrance, I think that's true. It is a better fragrance. Everything we spoke about, I think, leans to Naxos, but they still both have a valuable place in my collection, and I'm still very proud to own Pure Havane. I think for me, Naxos, as I described, is going to be worn more when I wanted to go out and impress, and I'm wanting that extra fragrance to make me more confident, if that makes sense. But Pure Havane, I think, is a real nice wintry, cozy fragrance. Wouldn't necessarily wear it in the summer, whereas I would Naxos, but for me, when it's cold and you want something that's really comforting and warming, Pure Havane works well, so hopefully I'm always going to have that in my collection. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this comparison video. Let me know down in the comments right now, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Mugler Pure Havane, or do you prefer Xerjoff's Naxos? Guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in a few days with another video. Take care.